Maya, a bright 17-year-old, was walking home when police stopped her, pinned her down, and humiliated her. In desperation, she called her father, the FBI director. That night revealed injustice so deep that even power couldn't shield her. Before we dive into this suspenseful story, drop a comment with your city so we can see how far it reaches. And if you enjoy the video, don't forget to subscribe my channel. She was young, bright, and full of promise. A girl who believed the world was hers to shape. But in one single night, everything she thought she knew about safety, about justice, about her place in this country was shattered. It wasn't in some dark alley, nor in the middle of a crime. No, it happened in broad daylight, on a street she had walked 100 times before. A simple trip home turned into something that would scar her forever. The flashing lights, the heavy footsteps, the shouts. She didn't see them coming until it was too late. And what happened next didn't just shake her world. It exposed a truth far bigger than her own story. Because when you hear what happened to her, you'll be left asking the same question she did. How could this happen? And how many more times will it happen again? Maya was just 17, the kind of girl whose laughter filled rooms, whose grades impressed teachers, whose future looked unstoppable. She wasn't a troublemaker, not a rebel, just a kid trying to carve her path in the world. That evening, she was headed home, backpack slung over her shoulder, sneakers tapping the sidewalk to the rhythm of her favorite song. The air smelled of summer rain, and the streets were busy with people going about their routines. Nothing about it suggested danger. Her friends always joked that Maya lived in a bubble of protection. After all, her father wasn't just any man. He was one of the most powerful figures in the country. But Maya never leaned on that. She believed in being independent, in proving herself, in walking through the world like any other teenager. That night, as she crossed the street and waved goodbye to a neighbor, she thought only about homework deadlines and weekend plans. But shadows move quickly when you least expect them. A patrol car slowed near her, creeping along the curb, its presence heavy and unshakable. She didn't notice at first. Why would she? She wasn't doing anything wrong. But what she didn't know, what she couldn't know, was that this ordinary walk was about to unravel into the darkest night of her life. The car door slammed. Heavy boots hit the pavement. She turned just in time to see two officers approaching, their eyes locked on her like she was prey. Her stomach dropped. Confusion hit first. Why her? What had she done? But there was no time to ask. One officer's hand tightened around her arm, yanking her back without warning. Her backpack slipped to the ground, books spilling across the wet street. "Stop resisting!" The words spat out like venom, though she hadn't even moved. Her voice trembled as she tried to speak, tried to explain. But explanations don't matter when your skin has already told the story for you. The crowd began to gather, phones raised, whispers cutting through the night. Maya's heart pounded, each beat louder than the last. She wasn't just scared. She was humiliated, crushed under the weight of a crime she hadn't committed, of suspicion she hadn't earned. The officers pressed harder, their grip like iron. Her breath caught as her face was shoved against the pavement, gravel scraping her cheek. She wanted to scream, but her voice broke in the noise of sirens and shouts. Her mind raced with the warnings she had grown up hearing. Don't move too fast. Don't talk back. Don't give them a reason. But here she was, pinned to the ground, and she hadn't done a single thing. She become the next? Was this where her life ended? Not with a chance to fight, but with her body as evidence of a system that never saw her humanity. The crowd grew louder, the phones steadier. But even with witnesses, she knew the truth. Sometimes the world watches and still does nothing. And then it happened. The moment when everything seemed to stop. The officer's knee pressed harder into her back, the weight unbearable, the air slipping from her lungs. She fought to stay conscious, her eyes darting, desperate for something, anything to hold on to. Time slowed. Her body screamed. Her spirit broke. In that single instant, Maya felt the crushing reality of what it meant to be black in America. Her hands trembled as she reached for her phone, not to film, not to fight, but to make one desperate call. The officers noticed, tried to stop her, but not before the line connected. She couldn't say much. Her voice was weak, gasping. But it was enough. On the other end of that call was a man whose authority stretched far beyond that street corner. Her father, the director of the FBI. The voice on the other end of the line was steady, calm, and commanding. Within minutes, everything shifted. The officers who had pinned Maya down suddenly froze, their radios crackling with urgent updates. They pulled back, their earlier aggression replaced with a tense silence. Her father had answered, and he wasn't just any father. He was the director of the FBI. The crowd erupted, half in disbelief, half in relief. Phones kept recording as the officers scrambled, their authority slipping away with every passing second. Maya sat up slowly, her body trembling, her cheek bruised, her spirit cracked, but not broken. She could finally breathe again, but breathing didn't erase what had just happened. The officers backed away, but the damage was already done. No position of power, no family name, no badge of protection had shielded her from the raw, brutal force of racism. If she, the daughter of one of the most powerful men in America, could be crushed under that weight, what did that mean for every child who didn't have someone powerful to call? That night changed Maya forever. It was not the bruises that lingered, nor the humiliation of being thrown to the ground. It was the realization of just how fragile her safety truly was. She had lived the nightmare her community had warned her about, a nightmare that millions before her had faced without anyone powerful enough to pick up the phone. Her story is not an isolated one. It is a mirror, reflecting a system that continues to break lives in plain sight. For every Maya, there are countless others whose names never make the news, whose cries are never recorded, whose calls for help go unanswered. So the question is this: how many more times will we watch this same story play out? How many more voices will be silenced before the world finally listens? Maya survived that night, but survival is not enough. Survival should never be the standard. Justice should. Dignity should. Humanity should. And maybe, just maybe, the next time we see someone pressed against the pavement, we'll remember Maya. We'll remember that no title, no privilege, no father in power can fully protect a black child in a world still built on inequality. The question remains, when will enough finally be enough?